Do you guys remember the Lorax? In 2012, Illumination Entertainment, of Despicable Me fame, decided to make a full-length feature adaptation of the classic Dr. Seuss book for kids. And boy, was it a movie. They had a lot going for them. Zac Efron and Taylor Swift in the leading roles, Betty White, rest in peace, as Grandma Normie, and Danny DeVito as the Lorax himself. This movie's gonna rock! If by some chance you haven't seen this generation-defining piece of art, don't worry. It wasn't great. At least that's the general consensus. Looking through the IMDb of the directors, you can see other such classics as Minions, Minions: The Rise of Gru, and Weenie. So their track record was perfect. I don't know what went wrong. No, honestly, I don't think the movie is that bad. It's just a little ironic. The Lorax is a story about saving the environment and being weary of capitalism, made by a studio that is notorious for churning out low-effort animated movies in an attempt to make a lot of money. But it's funny sometimes, and as a musician, I noticed the music, which is way better than it ever needed to be. Not only is the soundtrack high energy and fun to listen to, but it actually helps tell the story and express the themes of the movie. That's right. This movie has themes. The soundtrack of the film was written by John Powell, who is no stranger to scoring animated films. His credits include Ants, The Road to El Dorado, Chicken Run, Shrek, and the Kung Fu Panda movies, just to name a few. The man is a pro. The songs of the movie were written by Cinco Paul, who normally is a screenwriter, but really turned it out for this movie. The songs fit perfectly in the world and meshed together really well with the score provided by Powell. Another fun fact, I already made this video. About 5 years ago, I researched, wrote, shot, edited, and uploaded this video, and it was copyrighted to oblivion. In my youth, I didn't understand that playing entire clips with audio and visuals for minutes on end was not okay. Pretty hard to claim as fair use. So it was never published. But I've learned a thing or two since then. But Alex, I hear you ask, how are you going to talk about the music of the Lorax without listening to it? Well, I think I found a way to play the music without playing the music. I'm gonna play it because I play piano. Let's get into it. The movie opens up on Thneedville, a completely artificial town where all plant life is fake and people need to buy fresh air because there are no real trees left. I actually think this is pretty funny. Taking capitalism and the free market to its logical conclusion, having to literally buy and sell air, is pretty clever. The opening song is very high energy and shows that everybody in the town thinks their lives are perfect. The hook also has this really catchy run that is super fun to sing. In Thneedville, it's a brand new dawn, with brand new cars and houses and lawns, here in Got More Than We Needville. The instrumentation of the song is super produced and very artificial sounding. You'll have to take my word for it, because I can just play the piano. But it sounds that way on purpose. Just like the town, the music is artificial and fake. Is it just me? Or was that kind of smart? We also get introduced to Ted, our main character, voiced by Zac Efron, and Aloysius O'Hare, the air salesman and main antagonist of the movie. His verse makes me laugh. Oh, look, it's Aloysius O'Hare, the man who found a way to sell air and became a millionaire. After the opening song, Ted flies a toy plane into the backyard of Audrey, our love interest for the movie, who shows Ted a painted mural of truffula trees on her house. There is a lot of really nice orchestration going on throughout the movie. Fun cues that emphasize the character's emotions, as well as sweeping orchestral cues that give a real sense of weight to the character's actions and how they think about things. I'm not going to dissect every cue in this movie. This video about the 2012 Lorax is already long enough. But if you're interested, check out the full score sometime. It's great. Audrey explains that she would fall in love with anybody who could show her a real tree. And this kicks off the main quest of the movie, for Ted to find a tree to give to Audrey. At dinner, Grandma Normie, voiced by Betty White, tells Ted about the Onceler, the man who knows what happened to the trees, and Ted is off. After escaping the town, Ted drives through the wasteland of the outside world. And we actually see some really nice foreshadowing for the Onceler, like the billboard that showcases the Thneed, and what we'll find out is the machines used to cut down the truffula trees later in the movie. After finding him, the Onceler, voiced by Ed Helms, initiates a flashback where we see him as a young man with nothing but a wagon, a mule, and a guitar on his back. He comes to a clearing full of trees and animals that greet him by literally harmonizing. This is where the next song in the movie comes in, and it is a great example of diegetic music. Diegetic music is music that happens in the universe of the characters. Think of a radio playing, or if the story is about a singer. In this case, the animals are already harmonizing and come across as very harmonious with nature. So when the Onceler starts singing and playing his guitar, the song just naturally starts. This is the place. It's bound to have just the one I need. I'm gonna chop one down and make my Thneed. But first, na 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 hey na 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 hey. It's a very Disney-esque musical theater way to get into the music, which is really nice. And even though we're changing genres to a more bluesy feel, it sounds natural and feels good to the audience. The animals also seem confused, seeing this electric guitar, this man-made object, clashing with their natural music that already exists in their environment. It's a really smart way to segue into the song while also highlighting the theme of the movie. I really like it. After meeting his new forest friends, the Onceler starts to make his Thneed by cutting down a truffula tree. This is shown very seriously and plays really well. The lights change and the music turns sinister, adding a lot of weight. Because of the act of chopping down the tree, it summons the Lorax to the forest. This also leads to my favorite piece of music in the whole movie. The Lorax arrives and sees the stump of the tree. You would think in a kid's movie where Danny DeVito voices a orange furry thing, for his first appearance he would tell some jokes, make weird noises, but no. He sees what has happened and starts to build a grave for the tree. All the animals follow suit and help to bring rocks to build the shrine. It's honestly really powerful and got me emotional even on my second rewatch to write this script. The music that plays is solemn and full of gentle emotional depth. It's just great. Keep that melody in mind. It'll be important later. The Lorax finds the Onceler and tells him to leave the forest. But the flashback is cut short when the current old Onceler tells Ted to go home and come back tomorrow. The next day, Ted sets out back to the Onceler but is stopped by O'Hare and his cronies. O'Hare threatens Ted that he's getting too close to the tree mystery and tells him that he's always watching. Despite this, Ted still makes it to the Onceler to continue the story. After some hijinks where the Onceler's bed is pushed down the river, accompanied by fish singing an a cappella arrangement of the Mission Impossible theme, not everything in this movie is great, the Onceler ends up saving a bear cub. Moved after almost losing his own life, the Onceler promises not to chop down any more truffula trees. The next morning, the Onceler takes his Thneed to market. The Onceler sings and plays his jingle in hopes of selling, but is met with less than stellar results. But just as he is given up and returns to the forest, a huge crowd of people arrives singing the Thneed's praises. Everybody needs a Thneed, a fine thing that all the people need. The Thneed is good, the Thneed is great. Let's hope we're not too late. This is another great example of diegetic music helping to tell the story. The jingle that the Onceler has been singing for days trying to sell the Thneed. The jingle the Onceler has been singing for days to try and sell the Thneed is now sung by the same crowd who has been hearing it. It got stuck in their heads. The jingle of the movie worked like an actual marketing campaign. That's really smart. Back in Thneedville, Ted runs into Audrey, who is buying paint. When she returns to her house, she finds that her mural has been painted over by O'Hare, again trying to cover up the tree expose that's happening. There's a peppy little orchestrated version of the opening Thneedville theme that plays, which quickly turns sinister when we reveal the empty house wall. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about every sound cue in the movie, but I only caught that one on my last watch. The next scene starts with a quote that I really like. Sunshine, a blue sky, a perfect day. It all went downhill from there. In the flashback again, the Onceler's family arrives and begins a mass chopping down of the truffula trees in the forest, much to the Lorax's dismay. They start constructing an empire that sucks the life out of the forest and the animals that live there. With the trees falling and the Lorax being silenced by his family, the Onceler ponders whether he made the right choice or not, which kicks off the next song. This one is really fun, I'm not gonna lie. It's so fun in a cringy bad way how the Onceler describes capitalism in the most evil ways possible. Talking about animals eating each other for natural selection and how only the wealthy make the rules of the world. How bad can I be? I'm just doing what comes naturally. How bad can I be? I'm just following my destiny. Remembering that the target audience for the movie is children, I think the song uses a lot of great lyrics and fun visuals to explain why the Onceler is making a mistake. I feel like the only issue is that it's so much of a banger you don't realize it's bad. You're having too much fun to notice he's literally turning evil. Then towards the end, it really gets crazy. As the visuals darken and get more twisted, we see a giant Onceler against a dark red sky. He uses his guitar amps to literally blow trees down. And we pan down to see the Lorax and all the other animals running from the axe machines we saw earlier in the movie. And the lyrics, oh my god, these lyrics. All the customers are buying, the money is multiplying, the PR people are lying, and the lawyers are denying. Who cares if a few trees are dying? That is heavy, oh my god. I got chills. I get chills every time I watch this. The last time watching through this movie for the script, I was watching it with my girlfriend and she said the same thing. She also argues that these points are even more relevant now than when the movie came out, with the steady climbing of billionaires in the world and the ever-growing rift between the classes. And I think she's right. A lot of people know that this song wasn't originally in the movie. Instead, there was another song called Biggering, which served the same purpose. Apparently, it was replaced for being too dark, but I don't know. How Bad Can I Be has plenty of dark themes. They're just portrayed more overtly and comical. Honestly, that probably let them get away with adding more actually dark material. And all the best lyrics of Biggering ended up in How Bad Can I Be anyway, the ones I waxed poetically about earlier. But I do think they're focused on and impact the story better in How Bad Can I Be. If you ask me, I think they replaced Biggering because it was a boring song. It was long, the style didn't fit the tone of the rest of the movie. And while How Bad Can I Be is obvious with its themes and meanings, Biggering seems a little too preachy and on the nose. There's a whole verse where the Lorax rhythmically speaks about how bad everything is. Just my thoughts. I linked the demo of Biggering in the description below if you want to check it out. After the Thneed Empire is built, the Lorax comes back to talk with the Onceler one last time, as the last truffula tree is chopped down. With all the trees chopped down, the Onceler can no longer support his business, so his family leaves and we see all of the animals of the forest migrating away. The visuals are really powerful, showing this great migration of the animals. They pass by all the tree stumps, which look ominously like gravestones. It's powerful stuff. The Lorax shakes his head and flies away, leaving the Onceler truly alone. The same music that played during the building of the tree shrine earlier in the movie plays again as we see the same shrine in a transition back to the present day. The Onceler explains that Ted needs to fix what happened and gives him the last truffula tree seed. This is a pretty good metaphor, planting the literal seed of the idea of loving nature and all that. It's good. The final act sequence begins with Ted gathering things at his house. When he gets there, O'Hare is already waiting for him. Grandma Normie helps hide the seed, and Audrey arrives at the house to help plan their escape. An epic chase scene, chase scene, occurs on the way to the center of town. We get an energized version of the opening theme playing as we interact with all the different locations we saw in the opening scene. It's pretty cool, kind of full circle. Finally, Ted and Audrey make it to the center of town to plant the seed. They realize that even the ground is fake, very nice touch. They do end up making a hole, but O'Hare has already arrived. Him, his cronies, and the citizens of Thneedville surround the gang. Audrey explains why the bad guy is bad, but the crowd's not having it. As they start to turn on Ted, he steals a bulldozer and knocks a hole in the wall, revealing the outer world to all of the Thneedville citizens. O'Hare then gestures to one of his employees to win the crowd back, and this is a good time to bring up Fletcher Sheridan. Fletcher Sheridan is a vocalist and arranger who has worked on a ton of projects. Most of the time he provides demo vocals for songs within movies and TV shows. In the Lorax, Sheridan voices Cy, the O'Hare delivery guy, the same delivery guy who had a ton of really fun, riffy solos in the opening number. Fletcher is able to do so much with this small role with just his voice. Not only is the singing technically very impressive, but he brings an emotion to the character that fits in really well with the rest of the story. So when O'Hare asks him to speak to the crowd, I knew I was in for a masterpiece. The next song, Let It Grow, finishes out the movie. It's really cute. The town sings about how they want to change their ways and plant the tree. There's a middle verse where O'Hare tries one last time to win everybody over, but he's drowned out in a big dramatic key change. And listen to the melody. You don't know me, but my name's Cy. I'm just the O'Hare delivery guy. And it seems like trees might be worth a try. So I say let it grow. My name is Dan, my name's Rose. Our son Wesley kinda glows, and that's not good, so we suppose we should let it grow. Let it grow, let it grow. You can't reap what you won't sow. Plant a seed inside the earth, just one way to know its worth. Let's celebrate the world's rebirth. We say let it grow. Do you hear that? It's the same theme that played during the tree funeral. The theme of the forest, the theme of nature. Because with this act of defiance, the forest starts coming back. That's genius. To plant the idea for this song so early in the movie and have it fully realized now, that's on the level of a Sondheim musical or the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. And here's where it gets me every single time. The melody of the first song, Thneedville, intermingles with the theme of Let It Grow for the final refrain of the movie. But instead of an overproduced set of synthesizers, it's sung a cappella, voices only, the most natural instrument there is. We say let it grow in Thneedville. We say let it grow. It's a brand new dawn. In Thneedville, we say let it grow. What a genius way to convey the change in the town through this musical number. No joke, I get misty-eyed watching this scene. It just works so well, and the music is so good, and it's been building this whole time. It's great. The movie ends with the Lorax returning and greeting the Onceler, who is watering more baby truffula trees. And of course, the Let It Grow / forest theme music ends on a simple piano cadence, signaling that our story is over. I'm not crying, shut up, you're crying. And that was the 2012 Lorax. Was it perfect? No. There were parts that dragged, mouth animations that didn't line up to the dialogue. The story might have been a little simple, but it had a really strong message that was conveyed very well. And the music of the movie did a phenomenal job emphasizing those themes. As of the recording of this video, the Lorax has a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I don't think it deserves that. I don't know what it deserves, but I know I liked it. I know I was moved by it. And that's something. Maybe it's just me, but I genuinely enjoyed the movie. And I've seen it about 6 times for this video now. Still not sick of it. There are still jokes that I laugh at, parts I get emotional at. And I'll be singing those songs for weeks after this video comes out. There's a lot to like. But what did you think? I'd love to know in the comment section down below. It feels so freeing to finally publish this video. It's been a 5-year journey, but we finally made it. If you liked this video, I would really appreciate you interacting with it in some way. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff. Subscribe for more videos like this, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Let it grow, let it grow. Let the love inside you show. Plant a seed inside the earth, just one way to show its worth. Let's celebrate the world's rebirth. We say let it grow.